expenses. I don't want to live a life with expenses. £1,400 of personal costs. What am I doing? What am I doing? Hello there guys, and welcome to the Break platform. My name is Patricia Bright, and it smells like 2022, and it smells like opportunity to start again. I love the beginning of the year because this is a time to take stock, make plans, think about where you want to go over the year ahead, and actually think about your projected budget. So today I'm going to go ahead and go through my budget today with you all. I'm going to break down my specific numbers around my salary that I pay myself and how I plan to spend my money, what my expenses are, as well as how I plan to save my money and also invest my money in an overview. So if you're someone who's never budgeted before and you don't know much about it, this is going to be a complete walkthrough. I'm going to show you all my details, and I'm going to tell you how I budget my salary. Now, I did this 2 years ago when my salary was £60,000 a year, but you know what? I kind of overspent. And last year, I don't even think I budgeted. I think last year was the year where I was like, forget the budget. Let's go wild. And I really did do that, and I'm not doing that this year. I am not doing that this year. I want us to complete this together, and I would love to go through some of your budget. So if you do this, send us an email at the Break platform, leave a comment below, leave some comments, and I just want to hear like how you're budgeting through the year, and maybe we'll talk about your budget for 2022. The tracker is in the description bar below, but let's get to it. Okay, so let's get into looking at my budget for the year. My total income for the year is £80,400. Now, that may be a large amount to some people or a low amount to some people. It's all relative, and it's all depending on what you earn. I've given this figure, which is after taxes, which means that I earn more than this. I pay myself a salary out of my businesses. My businesses make their own money, and I work with my accountant, and I pay taxes out of my business. So I pay this amount to myself post taxes, and this is what I get to live on. 80,000 a year plus is plenty to live a really good lifestyle, and I feel very, very blessed to be able to do that. And you'll notice that this is a new and improved budget tile, which has a couple of dashboards, and we've got a couple of charts that make me tingle. I love a good visual, guys, I'll be honest with you. So number one, my salary is around £6,000 after taxes. That is what I'm paying myself on a monthly basis, and then I'm also paying myself a dividend of £700. So in total, I'm receiving £6,700 after tax on a monthly basis. Now, anybody can kind of work out what they're receiving after taxes and complete their income on this sheet. And there are people who have multiple sources of income, and I think this is a really important thing to do, especially if you're trying to increase your budget and you want to be able to write in here side hustle 1, side hustle 2, side hustle 3. And you want to be able to add an extra 100 quid here, and an extra 100 quid here, and an extra 200 quid here, and an extra 1,000 here. And that's how you're able to increase your income, by diversifying your revenue. For me, when it comes to having extra revenue, I have those all within my business. So this income and these expenses are for my everyday living. So the next blocks we have is expenses. I don't want to live a life with expenses, but if you're living, that's expenses. And I have broken these into different categories. So I've got my living costs, things that are essential, things that I need, and I also have travel costs as well. So I'm going to go through and show you exactly how to do it. And if you're not that familiar with Excel, I'll just show you how I drag and drop. So firstly, my mortgage has actually gone down this year. I've had a mortgage for 5 years, and this is the first drop I've ever had, and it's gone down by a couple of hundred quid, and now it's 2,420. So that is what my actual mortgage amount is. However, because I share this amount with my husband, I will go ahead and do a calculation, and this is why I love Excel, and it makes my fanny flutter. You do an equal sign at the front of a number, and then you do a / and you do a 2. So that means I've divided that amount by 2. And you can then also use what they call a fill series. So if you don't want to copy and paste every single number into every single cell, you can then grab the lower bottom half corner, and this works on Microsoft as well as Google Sheets, and then you just drag it across and the number will continue to drag across. You're getting a little bit of an Excel tutorial here as well. So for me, I really think that my rent and my mortgage cost is pretty affordable. Even if I was paying the full amount myself, $2,400 is actually pretty reasonable based on the earnings that I make. Okay, so my next cost is my food cost. And actually I divided that by 2, but to be honest, I'm a hungry girl and I'm hungry by myself, and I can easily eat £350 worth of food on a monthly basis. As an individual, that's not even including groceries. So I'm accepting who I am, and this is it. I like my food and it's gonna cost me money, and I'm not gonna reduce that amount of money because, to be honest, I'll never stick to it. So then I have the living cost, the cost of running a home. So that's things like water, gas and electricity, home insurance, internet, council tax, yada, yada, yada. Taxes, they're there forever. And these kind of total to around £380 on a monthly basis. And my gas and electricity come up together, and that total cost is £280 on a monthly basis divided by 2. I actually think the gas and electricity cost is pretty high. My partner has a Tesla, and so he charges the car at home, so it's a little bit higher, but he doesn't pay that amount in petrol. Again, my costs are all divided by 2, and I put NA by gas because guess what? My gas and electricity comes together. Now my mobile phone, I really don't know how much my mobile phone costs, and I think it's around £80 a month. I don't even know if that's expensive or not. It's like an essential for me, so we're just gonna remember it's £80, and Michael doesn't pay that, so I pay that myself. And when it comes to the internet and the home phone number, pretty affordable. And then a thing called council tax. So this is all depending on the location of your house and the size of your house. Everyone has to pay council tax, and ours is around £235 a month. And so divided between 2, it's £118. Without my childcare costs, my living expenses on a monthly basis is just under £2,000, which I think is pretty reasonable. I don't know, it's all relative, which is why when it comes to talking about money, it's so personal and for you to determine what works for you. But for me, if I was living on if I was spending just £2,000 a month, that would be great. But that's not the case. And then I have children. So our childcare costs are probably around £2,000 per month. Children are expensive. Them kids are not cheap. It's not cheap, I can't lie. So it's about £2,000 a month, but that amount is divided by myself and my husband. So that brings my total expenses, living cost expenses and family cost expenses to £2,995. It's getting up there. You can see how the childcare cost really impacts the amount that's available when it comes to the expenses. But that's not all, guys. That is not all, because there are then travel costs and then personal costs as well. So what I've got is a total of £500 when it comes to my travel costs. That includes Ubers, public transport, and like all the other sundries around my car. And what's really interesting is I'm actually thinking about selling my car next year or this year. Come March, I'm not really gonna keep the car. I probably drive twice a week, and I get Ubers all the time, and I hate paying for parking and then finding a parking place. It's just not something that I do. And my new office, I can get public transport there really, really easily. So I'm actually thinking of reducing a lot of these costs. I could probably reduce my costs by about 140 when it comes to the sundry costs, and my payments are 450. So £600 I could actually drop my cost by. But yes, I will be Ubering and taxiing around a little bit more and spending maybe a touch more on public transport. But my total travel costs on a monthly basis are £500. Okay, personal costs. £1,400 on personal costs. What am I doing? £200 on the gym. We need to reflect on this. I think this is my total gym cost. I don't think it's £200. I think it's £100 per month. That is still expensive for a gym, but you know what? I do think health is wealth, and I think investing in a gym is important, even if it's just I know that I'm paying for it and it hurts, which means I need to go. That's what it is. It's the pain of the payment that says you better go to the gym to make it worthwhile. So socialization, I would say that I probably spend about £600 a month on like dinners and meeting friends and that kind of thing. And I'm not gonna drop that budget. I'm sorry. That's the little luxuries that I want to enjoy, which is actually seeing people that I love and eating good food. Oh my gosh, if I add socialization to food, because my food and socialization are one and the same, that's £950 a month on food and socialization. It's really not that deep. So I might reflect on this because that's almost £1,000 food and socializing, because my socializing is eating. Woo! This is the thing about a budget. A budget will scream at you your life priorities. It will tell you if you are on the right path in life, and it's excessive, Patricia. It's excessive. I'm gonna drop my socialization to £500 a month, okay? I'm gonna drop it by £100. Stay within reason, Patricia. This is insane, absolutely insane. So my budget for clothing is £500 a month. So that number is slightly skewed. Bearing in mind that I'm like a beauty blogger and I'm in the public eye, clothing and dressing is really part of my business. So there is a cost that I actually pay when it comes to clothing, and I can charge them mostly as expenses to my business. These are business costs when I buy stuff. However, there's another tax principle which is called benefit in kind. So because I get to wear the clothing, I'm receiving benefit. Some of this amount becomes a personal expense that I need to be taxed on because I get to wear the clothing and enjoy the clothing, so I'm receiving some form of benefit in it. So I'm putting a budget there of around £500 when it comes to clothing. And then my subscriptions, when it comes to my Amazons, my Amazon Primes, my Netflixes, my Sky Glass, my all these other stuff. So that brings my total, is that my total personal expenses to £1,200? Oh, it's too much. I would like to reduce my expenses. You don't need to live like this, Patricia. My budget is screaming at me. It's screaming at me to get my priorities straight. And then finally, I have debt cost payments here. So this is where you can see the debt that I have. And the only debt I have is my car loan payment. I also have my mortgage, but I put that in my living cost. So I pay about £450 on my car, and I will be paying that till probably March. However, from the end of March, I'm not going to be having that car. So drum roll please, my monthly expenses are around £5,145. Woo! And that leaves me with a net monthly income, the difference that I can play with, of around £1,556 per month. And what we've changed on this is that you can also see a yearly overview. So I can see those numbers in chart form and what I have available to save, spend, or invest for the rest of the year. So my income is $80,400. My total expense is $57,684, and I've got £22,000 a year left over. In the scheme of things, that is really pretty decent and definitely a privilege. This may not always be the case. If, for instance, I had to pay an additional £3,000 in expenses, I would then obviously be in a situation of a minus, right? And what I love about this sheet is that it will update accordingly in the yearly overview. So I can see here that if I was spending additional £3,000 a month, that I would actually be losing £13,000 on a monthly basis, and I'd have zero money. I'd be in debt, and that's why it's red, and I won't have anything available for the remainder of the year. Everybody's situation is different, but there's two key factors. It's income, it's expenses. What you really want to be able to do is balance the two. Either increase your income or reduce your expenses. That's like your two main factors here. And then it allows you to make smart decisions afterwards. So right, now that I've worked out my income and my expenses, I can look at saving and investment and meeting particular goals. Now, everybody has different goals. You might be saving for a wedding or a handbag or a special occasion. I would put investing over saving as a priority, but there may be some short-term saving goals that are more of a priority for you. For me, there is a celebration I would like to put some money aside for. So I'm trying to save 15K this year towards that because it will be a personal cost, but more than likely I'm going to take money out of the business and pay higher taxes to let that happen. And also there's a trip that is a non-business trip that I want to go on as well. Now, for me, the investing is really important and I'd like to invest. I put 1,600 on a monthly basis. That's almost £20,000 a year, which is, for myself, is pretty much right. But I actually can't afford it. That's what my net cash is saying. So what had happened was I'm going to I need to drop something. Oh my gosh. These are the dilemmas that we have to think about. So I'm going to drop the celebration. I'm just going to go on my trip, which is a personal cost for £3,000. And I will continue as a minimum to put probably about 1,600 into investments, which is about 20 grand a year. So pensions, index funds, some crypto, and my children's ISAs. That's how much I want to put aside. So as you can see, I can see my total annual expenses broken down. So the majority of my money goes down on living, travel costs, and actually my personal costs are 25%, which is pretty high, and you can see that I've got pretty low debt, and this number will vary for lots of different people. It's really important for you to work out what kind of ratio works for you. And I've got £516 extra to enjoy. By the way, this sheet is not dependent on like whether you're a US citizen or European citizen. Math is math, it's just numbers. So that is my projected budget for the year and how I would like to be spending my money for the year. Now, the thing about budgets is that they are projections, and what you want to do is complete the actuals on a yearly basis. So within my sheet, you can see I've got January, February, March, April, May. Each one I will try and fill out as much as possible on a yearly basis. You'll also be able to see on the front cover, this is just an overview for you to keep a track of your performance, but I can see my actual year and counting. So this will continue to change throughout the year. And then there's also a lovely little chart at the end. So I'll be able to see what my numbers look like over the year. Thing about a budget, it is a projection as well as a working document. On a monthly basis, I will use my Mind and Money Planner, where I will basically put some of the key budgets that I have in for the month, and then I will track my expenses. And I don't want you to see this because I've already put 3 transactions in and I'm like, those are not essentials and those are not within the budget. But this is a way that I would like transpose these numbers and put it into my Excel spreadsheet to make sure I'm sticking to the goal. So that's it, guys. Here's to you having the greatest financial year of your life, okay? I feel something in the air, like it's gonna be a good one. I think this year we're all breakers, yeah? We're gonna really like make that money, manage that budget, and also enjoy it as well and live life to the fullest. If you want any more information, we'll have lots of content like this on the Break platform, and in the description bar below, I'll have all the links to the documentation and products that I just use. But yeah, you can use my example if you want as well. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, but in the meantime, I'll catch you later. Bye.